Today we're gonna talk about zombies. Or are we? Welcome to Comic Misconceptions, a show that takes you into detail about the things you think you know about comics. I'm your host, Scott Niswander, and today we're gonna kick off our Halloween-themed month of comic stuff with none other than The Walking Dead. First and foremost, there may be some spoilers to those of you who are reading the comic in terms of just the pictures that I will be using, but if you just watch the show, then you should be fine. Now, if you haven't heard of The Walking Dead, then you probably don't have an internet connection, which means you're probably also not watching this video, so I'll just assume that you have heard of it. It's essentially this comic/show that is a never-ending tale of survivors living in a world filled with zombies. Or is it, I say again, vaguely trying to intrigue you? We'll get to that, but first let's lay down a couple ground rules. Number one, I will be talking about the comics and not the TV show because this is a comic show that we're doing right here. Number two, I won't be comparing the differences between the TV show and the comic because there are too many. It's like a completely different world. And number three, I believe we have a trivia question that needs to be answered. And that trivia question is, in The Walking Dead, what does the symbol on Carl's t-shirt mean? Tim A. Lim got the answer right here, saying that it is a symbol for Science Dog, which is another one of Robert Kirkman's creations that appears in his other comic book, Invincible. Ian McNear and Little Maple Man also got it correct. Let me explain this a little bit more. So Robert Kirkman, who created The Walking Dead, also created another comic book called Invincible. And in that comic book, there is another comic book called Science Dog. I would think that Carl knows that the symbol on his shirt means Science Dog, but the Invincible universe and the Walking Dead universe are not one and the same, so I guess we can assume that Carl and the whole Walking Dead universe exists in a world where Invincible is also a comic book. So in the real world in which we live right now, Carl's t-shirt is a reference to a comic within a comic within a comic, which is why this show henceforth will be known as Comicception, because it's already pretty similar. Now, The Walking Dead was originally going to be called Night of the Living Dead because that name had fallen into public domain, but Kirkman decided maybe the description doesn't fit the series that he was going for. Instead of there being a singular Night of the Living Dead, he wanted it to be an ongoing series that has no end. A series that keeps moving, that keeps walking with dead things. You see, prior to this, zombie movies and stories all kind of ended the same way. There would be this big climactic battle where the protagonist would fight this horde of the undead, and either the zombie threat would be eliminated completely or the survivors would find safety with other survivors and probably some sort of gated community or whatever, because that's how we know they'll be okay. But Kirkman thought, okay, what happens after that? I mean, sure, you have this nice fence that keeps the zombies out, but who says that's the ending? I mean, you have these people living in this chaotic world, and we're just supposed to believe that they'll be okay indefinitely? So The Walking Dead was born to tell the full tale of the craziness that ensues consistently inside of this world. Kirkman also decided to keep the book black and white because you can get away with a lot more gore that way. Instead of it being blood red across every page, this kind of makes it less offensive. It was also cheaper to print when they were just starting out. So while the choice to make the book black and white was more logical than creative, I still think that it's a good idea to leave the book black and white. I think it adds to the tone of the world that they're portraying. I don't know, what do you guys think? Tell me in the comments, I'm interested. But now we move on to the thing that I was teasing in the beginning of the show. There are no zombies in The Walking Dead. Big fans of the comics and TV show might already know this, so it's not really gonna come as a surprise. So what do I mean? Obviously there are these guys roaming around the place, but have you ever heard anybody ever call them zombies? In the show, they never do. In the comic, they do, but it's very rare. And there are two explanations as to why this is. There's the real world, what Robert Kirkman was thinking when he was writing this explanation, and there's the fictional world, why none of the characters call them zombies. If that makes sense. So the real world reason why Robert Kirkman never likes to use the word zombie is because it seems laughable. I mean, zombies are such a huge cultural phenomenon that to the point where they're like a joke now, you know? Like take vampires for example, once fearsome creatures of nightmare, now love interests, and zombies not that far off. I mean, just the word zombie seems a bit silly. So calling them things like walkers and roamers and biters, because those are such general terms, it adds a bit of uncertainty and mystery that makes them a little more serious. But also in the comic book and show, there is no zombie folklore. So in that world that they live in, they do not have zombie movies, shows, books, stories, comics of any kind mentioning anything about zombies, and this is why the characters don't use the word zombie. These things, they're walking around, they're biting stuff, what are we gonna call them? Zombies? What the F is a zombie? No, I was thinking like biter. Like, cause that's what they bite stuff. Fun bonus fact, Marvel actually owned the rights to the word zombie all the way from 1975 to 1996. They registered it because of their comic Tales of the Zombie, which actually didn't end up lasting past 75, so it was really only a matter of time before their trademark wore out. But that's all the Walking Dead knowledge I have for you guys today, but say it with me, because now we're on to the weekly trivia challenge. Double fingers coming at you. So let's continue talking about Halloween creatures, because it's October and you have to. Captain America is a really good example of writers not really knowing what to do with him at certain points along the line. So he's been in all sorts of crazy stories, which I will get to because they make me smile. But we're gonna talk about one time when Captain America turned into actually, you tell me what he turned into. This week's trivia challenge is, what classic horror monster did Captain America once turn into? Leave your answers or best guesses down in the comments below on this YouTube video specifically. Remember, I will not be taking them from Facebook or Twitter or Google Plus anymore. I apologize. It's just a simple click to come to this video and actually write down there below, and you can get featured on the video for next week. So get started, you guys. Get it started on the next trivia. I don't know what cars do, guys. I don't drive. All right, my peeps, I don't think I have a lot of announcements today, but if you want a NerdSync shirt like this one that I'm wearing on my body right now, then you can do so by sending us a private message either on YouTube or Facebook, if you so choose, with your shirt size, and we will give you a link so that you can buy one for your body if you would like to do that. Bryce bought them for like $11 or something, $12, so we're selling them for that same price. And supplies are extremely limited. There are less than 10 of these shirts available, so first come, first served. You better get on that, because we're probably gonna run out pretty soon. But try anyway, because you never know. And of course, subscribe below down there, pretty please, for more comic misconceptions every Wednesday, or more nerdy videos like the Nerds Play, which is every Tuesday a video game show, or every Thursday we do Behind the Frame, which alternates between doing special effects tutorials and prop/cosplay tutorials. Lots of fun stuff. We're also getting ready to put out a couple podcasts for you guys. I know we're doing one on Friday, recording one. Should be up by Monday. Don't hold me to that, because I really don't know. But that will be it for this episode, you guys. You can also follow us on Twitter, like I said, Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter as well, at Niswander. And join us next week when we talk about more things that you thought you knew about comics. See ya. That one over there, he's walking. Let's call him a walker. That one's kind of walking, but more leisurely. We'll call that a roamer. You know? Not really, no specific destination, just kind of roaming. But that's all the weekly news. What? Weekly news? I do the weekly news now? Is there a weekly news? Like, I feel like the news should be daily. Like when it's new, you know? I don't know, I don't watch the news. I read comics, you guys. Don't judge me.